Richard Viguerie is on the line with us, the commentator, founder of the Conservative Headquarters, author of the new book, Takeover. ConservativeHQ.com is his website. Many folks have suggested that Mr. Viguerie is one of the founders of the modern-day conservative movement. I would not disagree with that. I'm guessing he wouldn't. Would you, sir?
Well, I was there at the beginning.
You definitely were.
Of the conservative movement, the Bill Buckleys, the Barry Goldwaters, and others. I was fortunate to be a young kid right out of Texas there, and I watched a lot of it, but I was very green and very young back in those days. But I just happened to be at the right spot at the right time.
So we just had Sheriff Mack on, Sheriff Richard Mack. He was coming back from the Bundy Ranch in the last hour. And his assertion was... I'm a little confused by all this, actually, was that the Bundy family should be allowed to continue to graze their cattle and sell them for a profit in the public marketplace on our land, on taxpayers' land, and not pay for it because of freedom something. It had something to do with freedom and Thomas Jefferson and Nevada not giving up their lands and stuff when they became a state. Can you untangle that for me?
No, that's not... there's enough right and wrong on both sides, Tom, here. We have a situation whereby, in my opinion, the Obama administration has been disobeying the law, ignoring the Constitution, changed his own Obamacare law, 37 times, and without asking Congress or anything. And then...
Well, is that no, wait a second. You're talking about Obamacare now. Can we confine our conversation to what's going on in Arizona?
No, you can't, Tom, because there is a ruling class that has finally caused a lot of Americans to wake up and feel they're just being abused and they're just tired of it.
But isn't that the ruling class, sir, that you've raised hundreds of millions of dollars for over the years? Isn't
the Tea Party types?
No, the billionaires who run the Tea Party.
Oh, get off it, Tom. That's ridiculous. No, but people are just tired of the ruling class, the Harry Reids of the world, who became a multi-millionaire on a politician's salary. They're just beginning to get tired of these people who are rigging the rules to advantage themselves and their friends. We're learning now about Reid, who has financial interests in property around the Bundy Ranch. The whole thing stinks to high heaven, and there's certainly enough blame to go around on both sides. But you must remember, the American people are just tired of all these government abuses, the IRS, the EPA, the NSA, and they're just saying, hey, enough's enough.
Okay, so if we successfully get rid of the IRS and the EPA and the EPA and the FDA and you name it.
That's a scarecrow. You just built a scarecrow. If we get rid of the IRS, who said that? No, I'm saying they should obey the law. And they're not obeying the law. The NSA is not obeying the law. The EPA, they're acting like bullies. They're coming into this place in Nevada, with police dogs, and they tasered people, heavy armor, throwing people to the ground. People are just tired of the government acting as bullies.
But this family is in defiance of two decades of 3 federal court orders.
Yes, they are. But do you bring in heavy armor, taser people, bring in police dogs, throw people to the ground? That's just a little too...
Well, that's, respectfully, that has happened to several million Americans now in the past, 6 years, as a consequence of crimes committed by Chase and Chase Bank and Jamie Dimon and his buddies and Wells Fargo.
You're singing my song. The conservatives, Tom, have been battling crony capitalism. Wall Street, big business, has been in collusion with Washington politicians, state politicians, for as long as I can remember.
Well, then, will you join me in calling for an end to these crony capitalists being able to claim that their money is the same thing as speech and is protected by the First Amendment of the Constitution?
Well, that's different. No, it is protected by the First Amendment, and I would enjoy.
How is the money of the crony capitalists protected by the Constitution?
I'm sorry, what's that?
How is the money of the crony capitalists who want to seize control of our government and use it to their advantage? How is that protected by the Constitution? Where does the word money appear in the Constitution?
You're framing it like crony capitalists. They should have different rights. I mean, I am as opposed to crony capitalism as anybody.
I think they should have no rights. They should have privileges.
What do you mean, no rights? Well, I'd heard you say something on the air before I came on, which I thought, I strongly disagree with. Higher education should be a right. Our founders disagreed. Our founders, Tom, said you should have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Nothing about a right to
Thomas Jefferson started the first free college in America, sir.
Cost somebody else money. You're saying somebody else has to pay for your right. You don't have a right to anything that costs somebody else money. That's somebody else's money. How do you have the right to take their money?
Well, we can debate education and whether it's in the common good. Thomas Jefferson thought it was. It's why he started the University of Virginia. It was more important to him than being president. It's on his tombstone, and being president wasn't. And it was the first free college in the United States.
That's right.
And
but he didn't say it was a right.
Well, okay, I'll give you that. But I stand by my belief that it should be a right. But that's not apropos what's going on in Nevada. How is it the right of a family that owns $1 million ranch and has made a lot of money over the years grazing cattle on federal land and not paying us for their use of that land and their destruction of that land? How is it their right to continue doing that? And it
isn't, Tom. It isn't. But it's also the people are looking around and saying Harry Reid's financially benefiting from all this, and his son is.
Harry Reid's got nothing to do with this. He has no power in this situation.
He's the picture, Tom.
He's not the governor of Nevada,
Tom. Don't forget now, the main reason we're supposed to be talking here is Takeover, this wonderful book that I wrote.
Okay. Your new book is called Takeover. What is the takeover, Richard Viguerie?
Tom, I make the point in the book that the conservatives, for at least the 50 years I've been involved at the national level, have had our political guns pointed at the wrong target. We've been pointing our political guns at Harry Reid, Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, but the number one problem for conservatives, the thing that's keeping us from governing America, in my opinion, is the big government Republicans. And that's our number one opponent, is John Boehner, Mitch McConnell, Eric Cantor, Karl Rove, Reince Priebus at the Republican National Committee. And that's the Tea Party battle that's going on in America right now.
So what's your solution for that?
Our solution is, I paraphrase James Carville, who you will remember in 1992 said, it's the economy stupid. It's the economy stupid. He said that over and over to drive that point home to Democrats. I say to conservatives, it's the primaries stupid. It's the primaries. Because this wave is going to come in. I'm afraid it could be of tsunami proportions for people like yourself, Tom, and sweep out a lot of Democrats. And if all it does is sweep in more John Boehner, Mitch McConnell, Eric Cantor types, we will have wasted the opportunity of a lifetime. So I'm urging conservatives to be very focused on the primaries. It's a 102-year-old war, by the way. It goes all the way back to 1912 when Teddy Roosevelt left the Republican Party, started the Boo Moose Party, which led directly to the election of Woodrow Wilson with less than 42% of the vote because he split the Republican vote.
Right.
And we've been battling that wing of the party ever since.
Doesn't it arguably go back to the Civil War? I mean, aren't you calling for going back to pre-Civil War times when we had strong states and a weak federal government?
No, we're calling for a rule of law. I want to go back where the people are in control, and we don't have this monstrous big government that leads to things like we just have been talking about here in Nevada. And our founders set up a government that was going to be a minimum government. They didn't want all these branches of government to get along and work together. They put them in conflict with each other so that we wouldn't have a big central government. And what we want to do is get back to where we have a government where it's responsive to the people. Right now, the people have lost control of their government.
Okay. Richard Viguerie, his new book is called Takeover, and conservativehq.com is the website. Hang on just a second, sir.
This is the Thom Hartmann
Program. Sorry,
Program.
the guy always steps on me. And Mr. Viguerie, thank you so much for dropping by today. Good talk.
Always a pleasure, buddy.
Thank you.